Carlos left Albuquerque at 7:15 on a Tuesday morning. Perfect visibility, dry roads, not a cloud in the sky. He made the drive up I-25 towards Santa Fe dozens of times before. This time he never made it. Here's what most people don't know. I-25 in New Mexico is not the most deadly in bad weather. According to data collected by New Mexico Department of Transportation, 89% of fatal crashes on this highway happen in clear, dry conditions. Not ice, not rain, but clear skies. If you drive this corridor, that number should change how you think, because the danger on I-25 is not what you expect. And toward the end of this video, if you or someone you love is ever in a crash on this corridor, what happens legally in those first hours matters more than most people realize. Let me put that statistic in context, because on the surface, it sounds almost impossible. Researchers analyzed crash data on I-25 in New Mexico from 2015 through 2019. They were looking at which conditions produce the most fatal collisions. When most people picture a deadly highway crash, they picture black ice, dense fog, a wet road at night in November. That's the mental image. The data said something completely different. 89% of the fatal collisions on I-25 happened when the weather was clear, good visibility, dry surface conditions, where drivers feel most confident behind the wheel. 121 crashes, 129 people who didn't come home, and the sky was clear for almost all of them. This isn't a fluke. There's a reason clear weather days produce more death on this highway, and it comes down entirely to how drivers behave when visible threat is gone. When the weather is bad, driving behavior changes. People slow down, they hold the wheel differently, they give more space, the threat is visible, so the brain responds accordingly. Clear weather removes that signal. The road looks fine. The car ahead looks manageable. You feel comfortable. You've done this drive 100 times. And that comfort is the problem. 3 patterns show up consistently on clear weather, high-speed corridors that you almost never see in bad weather. First, speed increases. When conditions feel safe, people drive faster. On a stretch of I-25 between Santa Fe and Albuquerque, the posted speed limit is 75 miles per hour. Even a 10 mile per hour increase in actual speed has catastrophic consequences in a collision. The physics of a crash at 80 miles versus 65 or 70 is not even close. Second, following distance collapses. A driver who would never tailgate in the rain or ice will close the gap dramatically on a clear afternoon without thinking about it. They just feel safe enough to do it. Third, attention drifts. Distracted driving is far more common when the conditions feel routine. The phone comes out, the conversation runs long, the scenery pulls a glance. On a highway with limited shoulders in some sections and significant grade changes throughout the terrain south of Santa Fe, 2 or 3 seconds of inattention at highway speed is a catastrophic risk. Put those 3 patterns together on a road carrying commuters, commercial trucks, and out-of-state drivers simultaneously, and you get a highway that kills people on the nicest days of the year. There's one more piece of data that needs to stay with you. Alcohol was a contributing factor in 23% of fatal crashes on I-25. That's higher than national averages from comparable highway segments, and the pattern is consistent. Most of those crashes happen at night. Here's the reason that matters beyond the obvious. A drunk driver at night on a clear highway looks exactly like any other car from a distance. No visible warning, no swerving you'd necessarily catch before it's too late. The threat is invisible until it isn't. The I-25 corridor is the only direct route between Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Late night drivers on that road, whether they're coming back from an event, finishing a late shift, or making a decision they shouldn't, are using the same road. If you are in a crash on I-25, the other driver may have been impaired. That information matters enormously for your case. Evidence of impairment, including blood alcohol records, police reports, witness accounts, and surveillance footage from nearby areas, starts disappearing quickly. The window for preserving it is shorter than most people realize. Now here's the part that most drivers don't know, and not knowing it costs them significantly. New Mexico operates under a legal standard called pure comparative fault. What that means in plain terms is that even if you are partially responsible for a crash, you can still recover compensation. If the other driver was 80% at fault and you were 20% at fault, you can still recover 80% of your damages. Most people don't know this. They assume that if they did anything, even something small, they're shut out. In New Mexico, that is not how it works. But here's where I've seen drivers lose ground they should have kept. They take the call from the other person's insurance company before they've spoken to an attorney. The call feels routine. Someone asks how you're doing, asks what happened. It sounds like a process. It isn't. That's a recorded statement. Every word you say goes into a file that their adjusters and their legal team will review, looking for anything that reduces what they have to pay you. After nearly 20 years of handling personal injury cases across New Mexico, I'll tell you directly, the first conversation with the insurance company is often the most expensive mistake an injured driver makes. You don't have to take that call. You can say you're represented by an attorney and we'll communicate through them. If you're not represented yet, you can say you're not ready to give a statement and we'll follow up. That's your right. New Mexico's statute of limitations for personal injury is 3 years. That gives you time, but the evidence window doesn't stay open that long. Scene documentation, black box data from vehicles which can capture speed, braking, and steering inputs in the seconds before impact, witness memory, surveillance footage from businesses near the crash, all of it starts deteriorating within days. Moving fast on the legal side protects you. Waiting does the opposite. If you were hurt on I-25 or anywhere along that corridor, call before you talk to the insurance company. That one step is worth more than anything else you can do in the first 48 hours. Next up, I put together a full breakdown of the most dangerous roads and intersections across New Mexico, including Albuquerque and Santa Fe, with actual crash data for each location. If you drive these roads, you need to see it. Watch it right here. If you were hurt in a New Mexico accident and need to talk through your situation, our contact information is in the description below. What stretch of I-25 makes you the most nervous to drive? Drop it in the comments.